between the two of us spent $500,000 on lawyer fees.
And so I come from a very dysfunctional family, so I'm addicted to adrenaline, to dysfunction, to drama.
I think a lot of people are looking for their perfect spouse out there, wanting to check all of the
Yeah.
boxes.
Oh, I didn't know that was a California. What? I have to pay spousal support? I make $1 million and she didn't work for 20 years and now I have to pay it. And the court retains jurisdiction until someone dies or remarries.
Yes.
That's when people call the offices like 9 years and 9 months, file now.
Yeah. Do I really love this person? Do I want to continue this marriage, or let's just cut it off right now before the 10-year mark?
Some people break, some people thrive.
So if you don't pass on your second time, that's it.
Goodbye.
Welcome to the Love and Law podcast with Elizabeth Yang. Today we have a special guest, Diana Romanov, coming in all the way from San Francisco. Diana and I have so many similarities, it seems like. I'm really excited to explore. So you're also a family law attorney.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, and you also went to multiple different careers before starting your own practice, and you also speak multiple languages and have a lot of unique and different experiences.
That's right. I practiced in Germany, passed the bar in Germany, became a lawyer in Germany, in California as well, originally from Ukraine. And in California, received Family Law Specialist award certificate.
That's amazing. Wow. So born in Ukraine, and then I think you also lived in Israel before moving to Germany, right?
That was a long time ago, yes. We immigrated for a short period of time and then decided that Germany was a safer place at that time.
What city in Germany were you in?
In Berlin.
Wow, awesome. And then now you've been in San Francisco. So, what's your earliest memory of realizing your life was different from the kids around you?
I think back when I started going to school, I realized I was saying things in class that I was supposedly not supposed to say. About politics that I heard in my household, the fact that my dad is Jewish. There were things that were not. I remember teacher walking up to me and saying, "You shouldn't be talking about this if you don't want your parents to get in trouble or you." And that was my first memory of censorship in Ukraine that I experienced. And then I remember changing schools a lot, probably 9 times. So the entire school career, my parents were moving. They were divorcing each other 5 times. So obviously they were moving different cities, different countries. And as a result, I learned to adapt. And so I was always the outsider, always the underdog. And now it helps me to shift and adopt. I probably would not have been able to move to United States, to California, if I didn't have that adaptability experience. That was difficult at that time, but it made me who I am today.
Yeah, it's funny how challenges in our childhood end up making us stronger in adulthood.
Yeah. Some people break, some people thrive.
You're a lot more adaptable. I also went to multiple schools growing up, moved around a lot. And at that time, I hated it. Yes, because I was always the new child in school and being bullied. But now, fast forward to adulthood, I think
I remember those times being bullied. I learned too how to stand up to them.
Yep, kids can be mean.
Yeah, they are mean sometimes. Yeah.
So when you moved to Germany as a teenager, did you speak any German?
No. I didn't speak English. I didn't speak German. What I learned was Russian and then Ukrainian language. And then after I moved to Germany, I resisted for a couple of years. That was, I would say, mistake number one. Adapt quicker, shift. Learned that lesson in America when I moved. Of course, it was my choice, so I learned pretty quickly. But I didn't like the language very much. And I have to say, I don't like it either right now.
Oh, still
Just
not
seems a
today.
little harsh, a little harsh. I like French much better.
But you went from going to a brand new country, not knowing the language, brand new culture, and then getting into one of the top universities in Germany.
Yes. And I remember at the age of 18, sitting on Saturday, looking out and out of the window, seeing how young kids were going to parties. I probably haven't seen much. Maybe that's why my skin looks so pale and well at the age of almost 50 because I studied all the time. All the time. I learned the language itself and the law.
Wow.
Learned to adapt pretty quickly there as well.
What got
But
you
hard work, hard work.
a lot of hard work? What got you
Yeah.
interested in law? Why did you decide to go to law school?
So when I was 18, I remember, those moments in life when you remember exactly where you were, how things looked like. I was in Berlin, maybe I was 15 or 16, on this bus, the two floors bus, and I was sitting and thinking, what am I going to do with my life? And for some reason, I only had three choices in my head. Maybe that was something my parents installed as a software. You only have three choices. So, first, a journalist like my dad. Second, a lawyer like my uncle. Or an actress, which is actually nobody in our family is an actress, but I wanted to be an actress. And so I thought to myself, okay, if I'm actress and I'm getting older, probably nobody is going to hire me. I didn't know better back then. I thought if I'm a lawyer, it's like red wine. The older I get, the better and more quality and wiser I get. As a journalist, as a fallback. So if I fail as a lawyer, I can always be a journalist. So my 18-year-old mind decided to go for, at that time, an achievable law degree because it seemed so long in Germany would be 4 years of law school, then 2 years of internship. So a total of 6 years before being able to call yourself a lawyer and 70% failing rate and only two chances to pass, not
Oh,
unlimited.
only two
So it was quite a
chances.
challenge.
So if you don't pass on your second time, that's it.
Goodbye. I have seen
Wow.
people who have been in law school for many, many years, 9 years, because they wanted to pass and didn't pass the first time. And the second time, and I that was a heartbreaking conversation.
Wow. So after the second time, if they don't pass, they basically just threw all those years of schooling down the
Yeah,
drain.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow, that's
I've
very
seen those
harsh.
friends in shopping malls working as sales associates. When we were in the library drinking coffee on breaks, it was heartbreaking. I think
Wow.
the system is pretty harsh to build elite.
Wow. So Kim Kardashian wouldn't do well in Germany because she's already failed the bar exam quite a few times here in the US.
Well, it takes commitment. I think her schedule seems overloaded. So when I was studying for the bar in California and in Germany, I did not do well at any area of life at all.
Mm.
It's zero focus on one topic and nothing. No side gigs, no long vacations, no children. No, I don't know how she's even studying because it really requires 100% commitment.
Yeah, yeah. California bar exam, which you know about too, being in California, is one of the
Yeah,
toughest bar exams. I remember back then I just 7 days a week went to the library from morning till night and studied every single
yeah.
day. Because one of
I
my
remember that.
classmates, she studied for 6 days out of a week because seventh day she went to church and did all her church activities and she didn't pass. So that scared me so much. I was like, okay, I'm going to study 7 days a week.
Yeah, I even tracked my time. So I would sit down and say, okay, 9 o'clock to 5. Every time I would take a break, it would take my 9 to 5 away. So it would be 9 to 7. The longer the break, the longer I stay because my goal is every day 8 hours. So it was a commitment.
Yeah, yeah. And it's funny how in your family it's journalism, law, and actress. My family's from Taiwan, so my Taiwan tiger mom, she also gave me three options: doctor, lawyer, or engineer. So we both have very limited scopes, limited options.
My parents gave me two options. The actress was what I wanted.
Oh, so
Hence, this podcast, in a way, it gives my creative side a permission to be a bit more creative.
yeah, yeah, that's like the journalism you didn't get to do back then.
Yeah. And court
Yeah.
appearances also require some posturing and putting a role and,
Yeah, and so
depends
you
on,
started
yeah.
your career as a prosecutor in Berlin, putting criminals behind bars. How did, criminal law come about?
That was part of the 2 year. So the way system works in Germany, first we have to study for 4 years, then to pass the first bar exam. And before we take the second bar exam, we have to study for 2 years from different perspectives. So we have to. It's a mandatory. So every lawyer in Germany has to do the same thing. We have to go and work for the prosecutor, work for a judge, and work for an attorney, and work for an administrative office. And then the second bar exam, we're taking from all perspectives. So each day we get 6 hours and get an assignment. So now you're the prosecutor. Here's the case, right? A prosecution complaint or a judgment if you're a judge, administrative. So from all roles, we had to write a bar exam. And in order to do that, we had to practice it.
Got it, got it.
I didn't
So
like it.
you didn't like it?
I didn't like it. I remember being in the prosecution office and the young prosecutor and I were sitting together and someone rolled, the administrator rolled in a huge box of files. It was probably 100 files. I couldn't see myself throughout. And so that's for this month. Good luck. Bye.
Oh my
And so she
gosh.
gave me the files and I was writing up complaints, pleadings.
Wow. Very tedious. No work-life balance.
No.
Yeah, same with me. I started in big law doing IP law, intellectual property. My background's actually I chose the engineering route out of the three options my mom gave me. So from engineer went into law and then did intellectual property, worked at big law, but the billable hours were tremendous, 2000 plus billable hours every year,
Right.
no work-life
That's
balance.
right.
Yeah, so that's why I decided to come out and start my own law firm. And I think that's one of the reasons you started your own practice too, right?
Well, actually, not really. I always wanted to be in a big law office, law firm. And so when I arrived to California, it was 2009, right after the crash.
Mm.
And so I couldn't find a job. And I saw this Dalai Lama post. He said, if you try to get into, how did he say it? If you knock on the door, nobody opens, build another door.
Mm. Yeah, I've heard that. That's a
So
good one.
that's why. Like, huh, I have the funds, I have the knowledge of law. I had no idea how to run a law firm, but I learned like you did.
Mm.
I'm sure it
Yeah.
was quite a process.
Yeah. And you did work at one of the biggest law firms in the world,
Yes.
Linklaters.
Yes.
And what was that experience like?
I was, you know, part of me didn't want to be part of the puzzle. I wanted to be the puzzle builder. So I felt in a
Mm.
big law firm, I was easily replaceable. And that feeling didn't sit well. And I also noticed I had to follow some scripts, how I behave with clients, what I say. I didn't have a say about what type of clients I take. If I didn't like the client, too bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Just do what
So,
the
and the
partners tell you to
billables.
do.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm,
I just don't like to be told what to do.
yeah.
The controlling part in me likes to be in control.
Yep. And now, after you started Romanov Law Group in San Francisco, you can have total control over the business and what kind of clients you take on, what kind of work you do. Um, how's that experience starting your own law practice?
I wouldn't sugarcoat it. It's not, the first 3 years was excruciating, difficult. I was wondering how people survive as lawyers opening their own practice because clients don't know me. The business is not established yet. But now, many, many years later, 15, 17 years later, I can say that this was the best decision I ever made. And I can say it for everyone. It depends on the personality, but for my type of personality, I'm creative, I like leadership, I'm compassionate, and I have employees, I communicate well. I think all of my skill set came together in one piece. If I were working for someone else, I would be underserving, meaning I would not use all my skill set.
Yep,
It's like using
absolutely.
Claude only for chat, not for coding, not for co-work, not for projects, not connectors. It's like 5%.
Yeah,
So I
so
feel right
limited.
now I'm operating at 70%. There is 30% still there that I have not utilized.
Mm. Yeah, I went from big law, started my own practice as well. And just like you, first few years were very tough, but also one of the best decisions I've made.
Yeah. See?
So
It
very
depends on the
similar.
personality, I think. It really depends.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, there's definitely a lot of responsibilities. We're in charge of everything. During the pandemic, when there was so much uncertainty, we're responsible for making sure everyone on our team gets a paycheck.
Oh yeah. I think the most lucrative year for me was actually the 2020. I remember my daughter was born, I was breastfeeding, and lots of clients were filing ex partes because suddenly their other parent decided not to show up at the visitation. And so because of pandemic, they thought that's okay. So we had a lot of things going on.
Yeah, yeah. And I expanded from IP law to family law because I went through a divorce personally.
Oh,
Yeah, and I believe
yes.
did you go through the same thing?
Yes, I did. I did. I had a I had an attorney in Germany interviewing a couple attorneys, and I really liked the attorney I picked. And a month later, he was chosen by Angela Merkel as the best child custody mediator. And I noticed how I didn't like myself, how I was being with him. And so now, when clients are the same way, I'm like, been there, done
Been
that.
there, done that.
Not
Yeah.
at your best.
We both sat in both seats. The client seat,
Yeah,
being the difficult complaining client, and now the
yeah.
advisor seat.
Yeah, and I liked how he treated me from the beginning and how seamless the process was, how responsive he was, how transparent about the cost he was, and said, okay, I'm going to beat him on this. I will send invoices every week. I'm going to respond instead of in 2 days, in 1 day. So I
Wow.
adopted his business model, but up double down.
Wow, amazing. Yeah, my divorce, my marriage was 1.5 years, and then we ended up having two
Oh,
two kids out of it, and
oh
or
wow.
divorce took 4 years to complete.
Oh, that's so
Yeah, we went
long.
through 5 law firms. Between the two of us, spent $500,000 on lawyer fees.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Same with you.
Well, I signed a prenup. It was a trust fund baby that I negotiated. And I decided that I would like to be friends with him more than I would like money. And so although the prenup was not enforceable in California, it was not valid, I decided not to challenge it and stay friends. And so I don't regret it. I spent the time that I would have spent in litigation studying for the bar, passing the bar, opening my firm, and building way more than I would have ever achieved in a divorce fight.
Wow, you're way smarter than I am. All my family
Well, I
law
didn't have
knowledge
kids.
was through
I'm sure
personal
there was some
experience.
not I'm not saying that you didn't do the right thing. When children are involved, it is a completely different conversation. Completely.
It is.
I
Yeah.
would be probably not a good client if I had to do custody as an attorney.
So do you also do all aspects of law now and also criminal law?
Except guardianship, no criminal law. So I do custody, visitation, support, asset split, outsource quadros, outsource asset split. So I do what I do best: litigation in court, mediation, and whatever comes as a package for the divorce. No
Got it.
adoption, no guardianship.
Got it. Got it. You know, they say in criminal law, you see bad people at their best, and in family law, you see good people at their worst. So you went
Yeah,
from one end of the spectrum to the other end.
yeah. And I have compassion. Really, really do. I feel when I speak to people, I feel I can touch their good side when we talk. Sometimes they turn. That happens rarely, but most of the time, people they're just hurt, and hurt people hurt. So it's understandable. Once I get what really matters to them, it's easier to address that wound, whatever that wound is.
Yeah, yeah. It's amazing. Do you think that having gone through your own divorce personally makes you a better divorce attorney?
In fact, that was the only reason why I became a divorce attorney. I was thinking to be an entertainment law lawyer, and I thought, oh, it would be so entertaining. And I worked for a couple of weeks, and it was so boring. No, no drama, only contracts.
Yeah.
And so I come from a very dysfunctional family, so I'm addicted to adrenaline, to dysfunction, to drama. I can't live without it. And if it's too good, I need to watch a lot of series to feel that sense of drama. So I feel my experience as a child of divorcing parents, as divorce, as being divorcee myself, I am perfectly fit for this role.
Amazing. Yeah. Isn't it funny how the universe creates situations for us that from a divorce came a career?
Funny how it works, right?
Yeah, yeah. So nowadays, after dealing with divorce on a daily basis, do you still believe in marriage? Do you still believe that, two people can get legally married and stay married for a long
Of
time?
course. Of
Yeah?
course. I'm happily married. I have a 6-year old and married for, I don't know how long. We know each other since 2015, married 2017, for a long time. And I think, like any other relationship, it's about finding points for discussion and also resolving. It's about the ability to resolve differences in a way. Some people rush too soon to get married, too soon to have children, not knowing each other really well, or having imagination how the other partner should be. And once everything crashes down, which happened in my first divorce, he needs to be the provider. Well, are you okay with him being an alpha male? No, I want to be alpha female and he needs to be the provider. Well, it doesn't work like that. I want to have an entrepreneur, but are you okay that he's 40 hours a week away and working crazy hours and not able to no, I want entrepreneur and available all the time. So there's always this type of negotiation internally because every person comes with some flip side, right? Someone who is more available might not earn as much. Someone who earns a lot might not be so available. So what is more important? Or there's always internal negotiation. And once I found what's more important for me, I was able to accept certain qualities in a partner much more with less resistance, let's put it that way.
Yes, yes. I think a lot of people are looking for their perfect spouse out there, wanting to check all of the
Yeah,
boxes, not realizing, oh, we got,
especially coming from a Slavic culture, I felt I was infused with the idea that man needs to provide, man needs to be giving you flowers, man needs to, and so all the list had to be really taken down from the wall, and I had to rewrite my own script.
yes, yes. Same with the Asian culture too. Usually men are the dominating breadwinner in the
Yeah,
family. So this is
yeah.
like
What if I
complete
am the
role
man?
reversal. Exactly. Yeah, in my family, my husband is actually the one who does all the cooking and cleaning, and he loves it.
Same here.
Yeah, so it's like role
Uh,
reversal in modern society.
yeah,
Yeah, well, I published
why
a
not?
book. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this concept that I coined called social marriage.
Hmm.
So, social marriage is like legal marriage. Two people can call each other husband and wife, but they don't go to the legal system and they don't sign the license. So, instead of signing a prenup or a postnup, they can sign a civil contract if they want to promise each other support. They can buy property together, but they can also have separate property without everything defaulting to community property after marriage. Of course, there's some downsides. They can't be on each other's health insurance because they're not legally married. They can't help each other with immigration and estate planning. They will have to delineate in estate planning documents. It won't automatically go to each other. But most people sign a legal license without ever reading the terms. They have no idea what the family code is. And not until they go through the divorce process do they figure out how complex it is. So instead of signing this contract blindly, social marriage forces them to really understand before taking any step. What are your thoughts about that?
I am supporting, I support any idea where two adults can make a conscious decision that works and agreements that works for them. I, it, there is nothing worse than having two adult people come to my office or one at a time saying, "Oh, I didn't know there was a California. What? I have to pay spousal support? I make $1 million and she didn't work for 20 years and now I have to pay?" Well, I think that concept you introduced solves this because people should, I think everyone should know what are they going into. It's so easy to
Absolutely.
fly to Vegas and get married and then get drunk, get married. So that's how it works, right? And then getting divorced, that's where our profession is so lucrative because people don't get informed what they're signing up for. Oh, really? I have to split 50% of everything I made? And my spouse was doing nothing? So this concept would solve the problem.
Yeah, it's a new concept because a lot of millennials are afraid to get married since the divorce rate is so high. They see their parents and family friends getting divorced, but this is another way to commit to each other and knowingly know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, I have a lot of clients with prenups who would like to keep things separate and would like to that's great because at least they think about what will happen when they marry. 90% of people don't come to our offices when they get married.
Yeah, yeah. So, you're one of the few attorneys licensed in both California and Germany. So, what happens when a couple is getting divorced and they have ties to two different countries? Now we're talking about international family law, which I'm assuming you practice.
Yes, I tell them, which law do you like? What would you like? Usually California law is better for someone who is earning less, has less. German law is a little bit more strict on support, on division, and slower in some ways. However, if they have a prenuptial agreement that they drafted in Germany, if someone who would like to enforce that prenuptial agreement, okay, let's stay high level. High level depends who comes to my office. If the person comes to my office has ties to Germany and California, or not Germany, to any other country, we discuss first what is the law in California, and then talk to the attorney in that specific country to see what law would be better for them if they filed for divorce there or here. And then we decide basically shopping jurisdiction first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Does Germany have common law marriage?
No, no.
Okay, so same as California.
Same as California, but prenups in Germany are not enforceable in California because they don't have financial disclosures.
Oh, no financial disclosures in Germany. Wow, that's
And
a
France, the same thing. Same
okay.
thing in France.
Yeah, because in
So all prenuptial
California they have to
agreements,
disclose everything.
they're notarized, they're drafted by lawyers, but there is no financial disclosure. So how can someone waive future claims or future rights if they don't know what's the point A?
The starting
What is the
point.
asset right now or debt? So I did the research, I tried to save that prenup, can't save it. No financial disclosures. How can someone waive? They can't.
Wow. So if
So,
one party hasn't really been hands-on in managing the household finances, they're going to be in a very weak position if they go through divorce in Germany.
right. So when clients call me and they say, well, we would like to get married in Germany, but move to California, I'm like, do a California prenuptial agreement and German prenuptial agreement, sure, but California mostly because you will have a stronger, well, it will be enforceable agreement for once.
Yeah, and way more protection in California. Yeah.
Correct.
A lot of people who I talk to, they think California has common law marriage. They were like, "Oh, how does social
Is it
marriage work if, don't we automatically become husband and wife if we live together for 7 years or 10 years?" I'm like,
maybe
"No, we don't have common law marriage here."
maybe because of the Marvin case from 1971 when California Court of Appeal decided once where they weren't married, they had 3 children. He called her wife, promised to give her half in spousal support and divide all assets together. She worked for him for free, and then eventually he left her, and the court said, "Well, you have to pay spousal support and divide all assets, although they were not legally married." And there are lawyers who do only practice Marvin case law.
Yeah, yeah, that's palimony. Palimony,
Yeah.
if you have expressed it, if the other person's reliant on it, then you got to pay support. But if you start from the get-go, very clear, I'm not going to pay you any support no matter how many years we live together, then it's going to be very hard to prove Marvin.
And that's why cohabitation agreement matters. That's why your concept comes in.
Yes, yes. So social marriage will
So
work
there is,
only in jurisdictions without common law marriage. Like in Canada,
right.
I think if you live together for 2 years, you're automatically husband and wife.
Oh gosh. I'm sure people separate after 2 years just to be
Yeah.
safe. Like in California after 10 years, or no, right before the 10-year mark, before it becomes long-term marriage and spousal support has to be paid unlimited and the court retains jurisdiction until someone dies or remarries.
Yes.
That's when people call the offices like 9 years and 9 months, file now.
Yeah. Yeah. Do I really love this person? Do I want to continue
Yeah,
this marriage or let's just cut it off right
exactly.
now before the 10-year mark? Well, let me go through a lightning round. Quick answers, no overthinking,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't mind. So, for prenup, do you think it's romantic or practical?
Practical.
What's the best legal advice you've ever received?
My only legal advice I received was from my divorce attorney. Actually, no, I give it to myself.
You keep to yourself.
Yes, when I decided not to challenge the prenup, that was the best legal
Mm,
advice.
Yeah,
Do you
save
want to
yourself a
challenge
lot
it
of
and go
money.
through 5 years of litigation, or would you like to spend 5 years of your life to build your business and your life?
Yes. Very smart advice you gave yourself. And what's the worst legal advice you've ever heard someone give?
Oh, file for domestic violence restraining order against the other spouse when they had two little children around Christmas time when it backfired. And the spouse who followed that advice filed for a restraining order, got it granted, went to a trial, lost it, and lost the children
Oh,
for quite some time. Not
wow.
forever.
Yeah, yeah. Don't want to use restraining
I
orders if
I feel
unless
like some
absolutely
newbies.
necessary.
I had unfortunately hired one of those who are very passionate, but passionate to a fault, meaning, yes, file for, how dare she put a tracker in your car? You need to file for a restraining order. And the moment he files, she files back and comes back with rape, and and then he fights a bigger battle
Yeah.
than a tracker on his car. And I told that client, don't do this. And he went to this associate who then left the firm and did the restraining order, backfired against my advice. I'm like, don't do this. Don't. Bad advice. She used to work for me, but bad advice. Anyway, he did it and he regretted it.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that happens way more often than we would think. Because people
Yeah.
are emotional in the divorce case and they just want to win. It's all
Yeah.
about
And
winning the other
attorneys,
person.
some attorneys, when they don't have that much experience, they go with that emotion and they take the wave of anger, whatever the emotion is, and it crashes really bad.
Yeah. Some attorneys are known for adding fuel on the fire.
Yeah, and sometimes it's for not financial reasons. Sometimes they're so emotionally, and I call them newbies because when I remember being in morgue, when I saw dead people, I fainted. And so, or some surgeon probably also fainted when they saw blood. But at some point you get experience, so you don't get as attached to the emotion. I feel now I have a stone heart because I can't fall into. They need a strong, balanced, very present attorney. They cannot have. I do have compassion, but I cannot let that emotion drive the decision.
Absolutely. And I think that's what makes a good family law attorney. Someone who can be compassionate, be strong, but at the same time, not letting all the emotions of the case suck us in and drag us
Yeah,
in. I've had some
that's right.
associates come through my firm, and after a few months, they're like, we can't do family law anymore. We go home and we can't sleep. We're thinking about the client's case and the whole mess, and it's affecting our health and our life. So it's family law is not for everybody.
Yeah, I still think sometimes about my clients. 10 years, I would say year 15 was the turning point where I decided if I think about the client, it's only about the solution, not about the problem.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, if you could change one thing about family law in California, what would it be?
There were many things. I just had a podcast a couple days ago where I had a list.
A whole list of things
Okay.
you want to change.
First, I would create more funding for mediation to hire specific attorneys, pay them salaries so that they help instead of having volunteer attorneys or family court services, social workers hire real psychologists and attorneys. So, psychologists to help settle the custody cases, and attorneys with experience, at least 5 years, to settle litigation cases. Right now, it's still similar, but underfunded and based on volunteering, especially on attorney side. That's one thing. I would simplify divorce for people who are self represented. For example, clerks who receive the judgments and they bounce judgments when, they have a list of things that when a judgment comes in if there is one box unchecked and they send the whole judgment back, and then when that judgment comes back with that box checked, they find a second mistake, they send it. So I think the clerks should have a reversed assignment. They should check for everything that's wrong, call the client and see if they can fix it manually without sending the package back, and process it quicker, process it online, be able to have a Zoom meeting with the client and help them to fill it out correctly, to actually allow the process to be much smoother. And even if it means to replace the clerks with AI, great, not a problem. I
Yeah.
think the judgments and the forms and all of that should be simplified. I think it should be something like, we have TurboTax where people file taxes through. So it should be Turbo Divorce, but with the court system where
Mm-hmm.
they file all these forms and it cannot go through. So by the time they finished their forms and click submit, it will process like Amazon when I published my book. It says, "Oh, we found an error, your image, da da," so that they can fix right then. And when it's submitted, then they get a filed judgment back. They're divorced
Yeah, I think
without
streamlining,
approval, without waiting 6 months,
yeah,
without
multiple rejections.
multiple rejection. And it doesn't even happen only with clients who are self-represented. It happens with attorneys. It
Yeah,
happened
it's
to
very
me.
frustrating.
So I would make all hearings on Zoom, make it mandatory to have
Hmm.
a proper setup, trials in person, but hearings on Zoom, so people don't need to sit and wait in the courtroom for 2 hours and listen to every single case. And it's so scary to listen to every single case. Sometimes they're very difficult. I can see how my clients are sweating just listening to another case.
I'd love to hear
8
your thought
years in
on
divorce.
one change that I was thinking about, which right now, child support is based on child custody. And so a lot of times parents are fighting over child custody, not because they want to spend time with the children, but because they want to pay less support or collect more support. So
Mm,
right? Like you know the parents,
yeah, that's
right?
right.
Like they
That's
before
always my
the
advice. Don't
yeah,
change the custody if you don't
before
want him to
divorce
come
was
back and ask
filed,
for more
they could
money.
care less about spending time with their kids, and all of a sudden now they want to step in and be, the attentive parent and fight for custody time. So I was thinking if child custody and child support were not related, then people would not be fighting for custody just because of money reasons.
That's true. Also, I had cases where they were super high assets and child support and spouse support was like $300,000 a month. I would create a cap for a percentage for how much child support, how much spousal support, instead of using these complicated ex-spouse calculators and I don't know how much the taxes and property taxes and health. I think it should be percentage of the net disposable period, and that would make everyone's life easy because right now the D semester is gone. Now we have this
Ex
stupid ex
spouse.
spouse. I
Yeah.
really don't like it. It's just not well designed. It's not integrative with. It's kind of old fashioned.
Yeah. Yeah. And very
So
confusing.
whoever is, maybe I should change it. Create a different software that's more
Yeah.
intuitive, more like Apple, easy to use and
Yeah. And
appealing.
that's why, Elon Musk moved to Texas because in Texas, they do have a cap on support. In
That's
California, he would
right.
be paying a lot more. And now he's in Texas. And
That's right.
yeah, I think their limit is like $50,000 per child or something like that.
Yes, a lot of entrepreneurs moving out of California because the law is not very favorable to them.
Mm-hmm.
Tax law and California divorce law and support.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, our podcast is coming to a close. I do have one last question for you. And what's next for our Romanov Law Group? Anything exciting on the horizon for your law firm?
Yes, we're expanding to another new member. I am interviewing one more and decided on one. So I hire slowly.
That's right. Hire slow, fire fast.
Yeah, I haven't fired many people yet because I really like to hire slowly.
Awesome, awesome. Well, congratulations on all your accomplishments, starting your own practice, serving so many clients in the community. If folks want to reach you, what's a good way to reach you?
Divorce Like a Boss. I will be everywhere. So, Divorce Like a Boss on YouTube. You can click on any video I have, and there will be in description all the links. Divorce Like a Boss on Amazon, the book. And the second book is going to come out on July 7th.
What's the title of that book?
Good Together, 64 Questions Before Getting Married.
Wow. So funny how divorce lawyers are trying to help with love and marriage.
I know it's kind of contradicting, but we notice a lot of things in our office that could have been prevented.
Yeah, yeah. Well, great job on all the successes and work you're doing. And thank you so much for joining Love and Law podcast today.
Thank you for having me.